Alright, howdy folks, Farmer Devin here. Another little video on our compost system. So, if you watched the last one, I was kind of talking about the construction of these bays here. Getting prepared for October when we flip this pile over and then begin building it again from all of this stuff. So, basically a quick little overview of what I hope to achieve with this compost system. You can see all these stones here. Those are going to be moved out and used for dry stack stone wall at some point in the future. That was just what I harvested from the couple of stones sticking out of the ground over there, so quite a haul from a couple of small holes. But basically, roughly where I'm standing, you know, approximately 10 feet out from all of these IBC totes, I'm going to have a fence running east to west in this yard, and this is about the size of a suburban backyard. You know, not quite as big as what I'd say a bar none backyard would be, but a little bigger than some of the smaller yards in town, I guess. Not that I've lived all over, but yeah. So we'll have a fence running from here to here. Each of these is going to be divided into a paddock, so you can see that there's 4 separate bays here. Those will be 4 paddocks. We're going to have a fence just a little ways to the other side of that. And then roughly right in the center of each of these bays, there'll be another fence. And then that fence may end up being something of a double fence, whatever I decide is necessary, because along that fence row in that line, the goal is to grow hops, something that is tall and vining and will provide some shade here in the heat of the summer. Why hops instead of something else? You know, I mean, there is other things I could grow for my own personal use and such. From watching other people on YouTube, I understand that hops tend to do quite well with the excessive phosphorus and other nutrients that chickens put out. And because of that, I think they'll do quite well. If you ever watch Siskovich, John Siskovich, I believe he's in Connecticut. He runs, or has ran in the past, his chicken tractors down the rows of his hops. And that is actually as a fertilizer for the hops, and treated them quite well. So that's a lot of that correlation there. If I find that the hops just aren't doing well here, you know, I might transition to something else. I will probably have honey locust or black locusts on the ends, essentially wherever I would have a quote-unquote pole. And I would definitely do something like a locust. I would not do something like a maple, because I would not want to excessively shade the hop vines. But in our climate, I do think that, you know, even the hop vines could probably use a little bit of shade. So anyway, that is the eventual plan, and the way that's going to work for the chickens. You see that this is essentially what we would call the start of the paddock, and that paddock is going to run 5, 6, I'm counting my steps. Let's just say like 50 feet down here before it hits another fence. It's going to run from here, again east-west, down to there. And then this strip here, I will probably remove this fence. And I would like to, I don't know if I will, but I'd like to move that fence a little further over. Just to give us some more space in here. But basically right in this area, there will be the chicken coop that I believe I'll create to be mobile, but will likely just kind of hang out and spot throughout the year. Each one of these paddocks will have a gate on it, and they'll all have fencing that is essentially chicken proof, so that the chickens can't come and go as they please. They are allowed into 1 paddock per week, so I will allow them, let's just go through a rotation. They'll have this strip open all the time, a gate down here open on week 1, and then at the end of week 1 we'll close that gate at night, open up gate 2, and then end of week 2 close that gate, open up week 3, end of week 3 close that gate, open up week 4. Now prior to any shade being established, early in the spring when there's plenty of moisture, I expect that Bay 1 will be recovered by the time that they get back to that. With how short our springs are here, I would say that by the time they get back to bay 4, the second rotation in the spring, of course they'll be doing this year round, but then by that point I think it'll be pretty hot and dry. I think that there will not be a lot of recovery. But the goal is to eventually get to a point where there is recovery every single week in these paddocks. And then there's, of course, the overstory from the hops and or the honey or black locust. And lots of happy hens, lots of eggs, and lots of compost at the end of the year. Yeah. Okay, so we're almost 6 minutes here. There's one thing I forgot. We're going to go over that, and then we'll end this video. So, compost flow comes in, goes into those white totes, obviously, gets flipped over every week when those hens move in to the new paddock. So, when I close gate 1 and open gate 2, that same day, we'll flip from that white bin on the other side into that pile, which will have its own container by then. That's the idea. Then at April and October, this pile gets moved into this bin, and what's in this bin prior to that gets moved out of that, and we're going to have one singular bulk aging pile in this paddock. So it will probably be sitting roughly between this post and that post in one long windrow, and at that point we'll see how irrigation needs are. Yeah, I might just keep it dry just because I'm a lazy farmer and why not. But that is the compost flow, and that's basically the only other thing that I wanted to add. So here we are at almost 7 minutes, and I hope you don't mind my rambling, and we'll talk to you on the next one.